So Anthropic have recently released a slew of connectors allowing you to, well, connect Claude to some major creative apps. And of course, this led to a bunch of hot takes on how Claude just killed every creative job from 3D artists to video and photo editors. So today I thought this would be a good spot for a reality check because while, look, these tools are incredibly powerful and useful, they're also, like as I often say, super brilliant but drunk interns. Plus, on the video side of things, I've got a bit on like the agentic workflows that are popping up everywhere. Like a slop, but not. Yeah, I've got notes. Kicking off, again, as many of you have heard or maybe even already installed, Anthropic has recently made a pretty big splash, releasing a number of connectors to Claude for some pretty major apps. Obviously, Canva's in here, Spotify as well. I think that was in there before. And even down to things like Uber Eats. Uber Eats really so that Claude can judge me for ordering Taco Bell at 2 in the morning? Well, I mean, as it should. The eye-catching ones, of course, to our side of the fence would be for things like Blender, the Adobe connectors, and actually, I mean, to a degree, SketchUp. I like SketchUp. It goes well with fries that I order at 2 in the morning from Taco Bell. I'll stop, I promise. So I figured we could take a run through these, and off the bat, as I have often said on the channel, I am terrible with 3D, which actually kind of makes me ideal for this. Because that's sort of the implied promise here, right? The ability to expand your skill set with AI tools, or if you're on the management side, fire that lazy production team because, you know, Claude can do the job for you. But also, as we're going to see, no. First off, if you want to give this a shot, you do need the desktop version of Claude and the control your computer skill turned on, as well as obviously the Blender MCP installed. That's just under connectors, and yeah, you just hit the install button and off you go. I should also note this is not exactly new. There's actually been an unofficial version of this running around for over a year now, namely since all of this runs via an MCP or Model Context Protocol. And I'm not going to get too lost in the woods here, but if you're not familiar, an MCP allows an LLM to issue commands natively to an application. So it's not taking over your machine. You're not going to see your mouse like rolling around the application. This is more like a back-end thing with like computer talking to computer. Now, probably the most famous tutorial on getting started with Blender is Blender Guru's donut tutorial. In total, it's like 4 hours long. And to be honest, I've never made my way all the way through it. So, well, let's see if Claude can bang it out. So this is the final version of Blender Guru's donut tutorial in the latest 2026 tutorial. And this is what Claude came up with when I just said, make me a donut in Blender. Look, on the one hand, it's amazing that it can do this, but you know, on the other, well, it doesn't look very appetizing, does it? So at that point, I decided to switch tactics and gave Claude a screenshot of the final Blender tutorial image and said, can you make it look more like this? At first, Claude was like, hey, is that my render? That looks really good. I didn't bother to correct it. And at first, I do have to admit, it started off looking pretty promising, at least to me. We did get the donut in there, and then it added the coffee cup in as well. To its credit, around this time, Claude did figure out that that screenshot that I provided was not its render, but rather, well, it attributed it to me. Again, I didn't bother correcting it. From there, Claude decided to push on, and then we ended up with this very aggressive-looking donut. Like if there were a donut on Fury Road, this would probably be it. Claude did very quickly realize its error and had all of the sprinkles laying down on the next pass. You know, although interestingly, it changed the texture on the coffee cup. And, you know, as I didn't mention the first image, but obviously we do have some issues with these laying sprinkles, which are really large, sort of like clipping through the plate. On the next pass, Claude, for some reason, decided that it wanted to change the handle on the coffee mug, despite that not being shown in, you know, our last versions of it, and kind of gave it sort of like this weird, like Bavarian pretzel kind of look to it. I was just like, go ahead, Claude, that's artistic intent. You do your thing. So its first final render, Claude decided to go full macro photography for some reason here. It's like, buddy, why don't we pull the camera back a little bit? To its credit, it did manage to pull back, although obviously we are pretty overexposed here right now. So, and then actually now our coffee cup is actually clipping into the donut. It's also a very, it's like a thimble-sized coffee cup or a giant donut, one of the two. So in the meantime, I was like, well, listen, I'm gonna go pick up some texture files for you PBR files basically from the original Blender Guru tutorial. In the meantime, why don't you take down the exposure? So as I was downloading the texture files, Claude came back with like, gotcha on that exposure, boss. I'm not exactly sure what it was thinking here, but yeah, just decided to put our giant donut and thimble coffee into the middle of a desert, I guess. At this point, Claude basically told me that we were having exposure problems because the texture files weren't loaded. So I was like, all right, go ahead and load them up. And then it returned with this, which obviously did not solve the exposure problem. But to be fair, actually, the texture files did load in. The donut definitely looks a lot more doughy nutty, and the coffee cup has a very nice texture to it, even though, again, it is still clipping in. I then asked if we could change the camera angle to more closely resemble the original tutorial file image, and it came back with this. So, it tried, and then interestingly, unprompted, it just continued on after looking at its own output and saying like, oh, I didn't fix that exposure, and then came back with this, which is, probably about as close as we're gonna get it, because it did try one more time, and that's when it decided to go back to its original camera angle and for some reason go magenta everywhere. Now, a very high likelihood is that we had blown far past the typical LLM context window and we had definitely entered drunk intern phase. At that point, Claude began congratulating itself on a great image, basically telling me that it thought we were done, and then ultimately it ended up kind of like crashing out. I do have to say, it's not terrible. In all honesty, it's better than I could have done, but obviously with some, pretty glaring errors in the quote unquote final. And, obviously Blender Guru's output looks a lot better. And look, I'm sure that there are a number of Blender experts out there right now that are screaming at their screens like, you should have done this and you should have done that. That's also kind of the point, is that I don't know that I should do those things. Claude's supposed to know that. Ultimately, this whole thing took about 2 hours of back and forth with Claude, and it burned through about 60% of my session tokens on the 5x max plan, which on the one hand is very silly, but I'm also not gonna call this like an epic fail or, do the Nelson Muntz ha-ha at this. For years on the AI video side of things, the comments in this channel were filled with, it's just not there yet. And you know what? I have not seen that comment in a very long time. On the 3D side, it would be kind of foolish to live in it's just not there yet. This is the Will Smith eating spaghetti part. And look, I do totally get it. If you are skilled in Blender, it probably doesn't make a lot of sense to use an MCP right now, as this post from George Crudo really made me laugh, actually. All this is just, fix the table and the Squirtle and, the results. Claude did not do such a great job here. But I do love the fact that at the end of it was like, that looks great. Scene's all cleaned up. And there's nothing to say that you have to use Claude or any other AI tool, in all honesty, as Visual Salmon shows here with, a scene that he's creating, just in Blender. Like there's no Claude or any other AI tools in here. This looks really cool. This looks really amazing. But again, if you do know what you're doing, I do think that this branch of the tree is going to open up some pretty interesting opportunities, as Hirokazu Yokohara here kind of showcases. Now, I do want to note that they do point out that this is essentially, geometry nodes, and I'm sure that those nodes on the bottom there are giving anybody with comfy anxiety a lot of comfy anxiety. The idea here, and even points out that doing this by hand is faster, but again, just kind of showcasing, this is the kind of stuff that I think that MCP integrations are going to eventually be very, very good at. Now, moving out of 3D and more onto the 2D side of things with the Adobe integrations, well, I have some notes, and I do say that as someone that has a pretty weird relationship with Adobe. If you've been following the channel for a while, you know that, like, I don't know, they invite me to things, we kind of do the Emperor's New Robe thing, and trust me, I'm not the Emperor there. And then, yeah, they invite me back. I don't know. And look, I'm happy to cheer the billion-dollar company when they get things right, but I think in all honesty, what kind of irked me about this is that initially, this was sort of posed as more of an integration with Photoshop, Premiere, Illustrator, etc. It isn't. This is more on like the Adobe Express level. So, for example, as a place that it does work, taking this image of Flamethrower Girl on a horse, which was the initial image that we used for the Happy Horse thumbnail, I could tell Claude, use the Adobe connection to convert this into a 9:16 image. This should go fine, except I now have to wait for the Adobe file uploader to come online. re-upload the image and then hit continue. And then I think, do I have to hit continue again? No, I guess that's it. And there you go, 9x16 reframe done. That whole process took about 3 minutes and 14 seconds. I wouldn't even necessarily say that it's a great reframe, considering that she's actually not centered. It did ask, hey, do you want me to center it again? But I mean, do I really want to wait another 3 minutes and 14 seconds when I can do this manually in much less time? Even something kind of simple like white balancing. So I've been upgrading our Flamethrower Girl base model with a texture pass here. So I asked it like, hey, can you give me a white balance on this image? And it came back with this, which, I mean, it's still kind of is like leaning into the magenta side, right? So, rather than wait another like 3 or 4 minutes, I just ended up dragging in, well, this is a different character model. I forgot to screenshot the other one. This outfit is Jungle Adventure Flamethrower Girl. But anyhow, yeah, just brought her into Photoshop and I don't know, like 13 seconds worth of work. So yeah, sometimes the old ways are the best ways. Sliding over to the SketchUp side, hold the relish. I haven't played with SketchUp in a very long time. Last time I think I played with it, I believe it was a free Google product. It's not anymore, though there is still a free tier. So Claude just came up with the idea of like, hey, maybe I can make a small 1-bedroom apartment. And I was like, sure, why not? The file that it gave me once imported, I mean, not too bad. What would you say, like a $3,000 apartment in New York or LA? I mean, obviously there are, of course, problems. Like there is no door between the living room and the bedroom. Obviously this island in the middle of the kitchen, little inconvenient to doing the dishes over there. Not sure exactly how much space you're gonna have for a refrigerator. And then as well, there is no door from the bedroom to the bathroom there. It feels kind of like the thing that I used to do in The Sims all the time. I was that guy in The Sims. Yes, I would torture my Sims. But overall, I mean, I do have to say that between the three of them, Blender and the Adobe connections, this is probably the most like successful of them. Granted, I mean, there are changes that need to be made. And Claude was basically like, take a screenshot of the output here, give it back to me, and I'll make those changes. But I'm not gonna go through all of that. All of which is to say, look, we're about to get hit with a tidal wave of agentic, MCP, and computer use stuff. Like everyone is about to introduce one of these things. And I think it could be great as a springboard if you know what you're doing, or in the case of like the MCP and like Blender stuff, if you use it acting as an assistant when you have like 3,000 layers and you're looking for that problematic spot. Yeah, it's great for that kind of stuff. I'd even argue that Claude with computer use probably does act like a very good tutor for any software that you want to learn, but it does have a long way to go before any of it is doing any kind of like meaningful work without a skilled human driving it. For example, this is a short that I put together for yesterday's video. It's like 30 seconds long. We'll take a quick look at it.
Oh, I didn't see you there.
Yeah, you wouldn't. You're an NPC.
I'm a what now?
Non-player character. Want me to prove it?
I think I'm a player.
How are you with first-person shooters?
I'm not very good and I don't like this!
Are you not good at spaceship games either?
I think I like being an NPC.
And now here it is taken through a full agentic workflow, essentially the same script, same reference characters, and then I just let it go. I just let it one-shot the whole thing.
Sorry, I didn't see you there.
You wouldn't, because you're an NPC.
I'm a what now?
NPC, a non-player character. Want me to prove it?
Listen, I'm a player.
How are you at first-person shaders?
Not very good! I don't like this!
How are you at spaceship games?
I think I like being an NPC!
And look, to be fair, in this case, I gave the agent basically no direction. I basically just said, let it rip. And to that, I mean, I guess it tried. And look, while my version of it is not the most elaborate edit in the world, it's actually just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cuts, basically. And then some additional sound effects, essentially for those transitions. And then I did put an adjustment layer on the top here, just kind of giving it a little bit of a boost. But obviously there was a lot more intentionality going on in terms of generating and choosing what material I wanted to work with. And while I'll say that both Seedance 2.0 and actually Kling's Omni model as well do a really good job with multiple shots within the span of a generation, oftentimes it'll end up creating L and J cuts that are actually really good. But it is the rhythm and the flow of longer pieces, considering that, these generators at most do 15 seconds of generation. So when you smash a bunch of them together using FFmpeg, without any editing, it comes out pretty choppy. And by no means am I the guy saying that, editing agentic workflows are never going to happen because, well, that would be stupid. They are going to happen and they'll probably be pretty good. But the work of a skilled professional or a skilled professional that chooses to work with AI agents, it's always going to be better than an agent left to its own devices. On that note, well, I'm going to go edit this video. As always, I thank you for watching. My name is Tim.